is going on, everybody? Welcome into the DGD Podcast. A little bit of barking after dark here. Got a nice little recap here for this Kentucky game. Dawgs win, get back in that win column after the loss to Alabama, 35-21. So we're going to talk a little about that. We're going to talk about some things that I saw that I was happy with, some things that I have some concerns about. So the good, the bad, the ugly, if you will. And there's just a lot to talk about because we are also moving past Kentucky and we're about to be starting Auburn week. And y'all know how I feel about Auburn. So we got a lot to talk about. But first things first, make sure to check out our friends at Bark Performance. Bark Performance, stay hydrated with them. Got multivitamins, got clear whey protein, and you've got electrolytes as well. So if you're on those game day tailgates, make sure to stay hydrated with Bark Performance. Go to barkperformance.com. You use code DGD Podcast 10, get 10% off your first order, or you can just go to dgdpod.com/bark. Don't have to worry about the code. It automatically applies. I'm going to break down this Kentucky game, and I'm seeing some mixed feelings here after the game. I left fairly confident that there were some things that we needed to see that I did see. There were some things that I still think we need to address. Overall, I think we can take some good from it, and I think we can build off of it. Right, I do. I want to start with the quarterback position. Gunnar Stockton, to me, I think people aren't giving him the benefit here. We did see them stretch the field vertically. Now, was it to Noah Thomas? No. It's something that I really need to see, and it hasn't happened yet. But getting the ball down the field, and you can't complain about that, right? There were some things right there, but also Gunnar Stockton's ability to get the ball to the tight ends, I think that's something that this team can build off of, right? So with Gunnar's performance, the statistics aren't going to be a wow, right? It's 15 for 23, which is not terrible at all, but 196 yards, 1 touchdown, finally threw a pick. But if you watch the interception, I was kind of okay with it. And I think Kirby Smart was too. When you're looking at a situation where you've got him being aggressive, throwing it on the inside, the safety comes in and makes a play, right? I'm not necessarily mad about that. He's been extremely protective of the football. This is the first one all season. I'm going to say that that's something that I'll be okay with, right? If it's a close game, I think context matters. But at the same time, the fact that he was willing and trying to just push things down the field, are we really trying to complain about that? Because don't be that same person getting pissy and complaining that he's not throwing it downfield, but then also complain that he threw the turnover when he tries to push downfield. So I'm not going to do that. Nonetheless, though, we're also talking quarterback. I thought Puglisi looked really good, too. I know he threw kind of a rough interception, but he was also making some really good plays. Kind of shows you that future there. We knew the arm talent's there, but really looked good throwing the football. Really looked good. Felt like he had a decent control of the offense as well when he came in. I was glad to see the quarterback change in the third quarter. Really thought that was important. Really did, especially against a conference opponent. I don't care if Kentucky's horrible. I don't care what people have to think about it. When you're going up against anybody in the SEC and you're getting your backups in, especially before the fourth quarter, that's a win for everybody. And I mean everybody, right? I look at the running back situation. I want to kind of transition to the running back room. Again, I was happy to see Nate Frazier get involved, protecting the football, right? Protecting the football. Chauncey Bowens, in my opinion, right now is your RB1, but it's hard to really say that it's an RB1, because of the fact that you just have this kind of running back by committee. Because you look at Chauncey Bowens, you look at Nate Frazier, you have Josh McCray, and honestly, you didn't really see a lot of Peanut. Now, maybe that's by design, but nonetheless, right, you don't see a lot of Peanut right after he kind of flashed to start the season. So you expect those to come back on you down in the next few games and see if maybe you can scheme something up. I think Auburn might be a good way to do that, but we're going to save that for Wednesday. But no, I think I'm looking at this situation too, right? In the running game, Chauncey Bowens leads the running backs, right? 15 attempts, 70 yards, no touchdowns though. Busted off a 19-yarder as the longest one. But at the same time, I was extremely happy to note that you have Gunnar Stockton finally getting some good usage with his legs, right? 6 rushes, 48 yards, averaging 8 yards a clip on it with his legs. 2 touchdowns, right? Got the first 2 touchdowns on the board, if I'm not mistaken. Really good way to set the tone running the ball, because it's going to force other teams to have to pay attention to that too, right? And I really thought he did a great job setting up those runs too, kind of just taking what the defense was giving him. So I can't necessarily be mad at all about the running performance. When you look at the rushing yards, 180 yards total. It's not what we've been putting up on average. I think we're averaging over 200. But again, it's Kentucky, and I'm not necessarily looking at Kentucky as a team that we're going to be just moving the ball at will like that. Kentucky's a physical team. They're a really physical team. I'm going to read our first comment here from the brigade here. Sanjay says, do you think Georgia is top 2 or 3 in the SEC right now? I'll keep that question there, and I'll keep my train of thought, but I don't think they are. And it's not because Georgia isn't worthy of it. I just think there is a good amount of teams right now at this very point that you could make the case for. I think you have to look, in my opinion, you have to look at Ole Miss, whether you like it or not. I think Alabama is something that you have to be keeping in mind for. I think there's Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma defensively has one of the best defenses in the game, in the college football, honestly. But then if you bring Mateer in, you add a different dynamic to that offense for Oklahoma. But so you have those 3. I think you also look at Tennessee's right there in the mix. Not saying that they're better than Georgia, but I think you have to account for them in this little area. But then you've also got Texas A&M. Texas A&M is playing some really good football, Sanjay. So I don't necessarily know if they're top 2 or 3. I would easily say top 5. I think they are top 5. I just don't know if comfortably top 2 or top 3, if that makes sense. So I hope that answers that question right there. And if you're in the chat, drop a question. We will read it and we'll answer it. So, and then Raw for a reason. Yeah, Missouri as well. Missouri, they're able to run some stuff, and it's going to be interesting to watch how that plays out. But they can play some ball too with Bo Pribula as well. But I get back to the Georgia Kentucky game, and I look at the receiving core. Again, I really want to see Noah Thomas have that breakout game, and it hasn't came yet. And I'm hoping that it materializes. I really want to see more targets at the very least, but we haven't got there. But I will say it was nice to watch Dylan Bell have a game, right? So far, we've seen situations where it's been kind of this Zachariah Branch show, some Colby Young as well. But to have the ability to have another receiver not named Zachariah or Colby go off for that kind of game, it's good to have. It's good to have, especially with how we operate on offense. So it's always a good thing there. The tight ends, again, I was extremely happy to see Delp get usage. I thought that play really utilized and showcased his explosiveness, catching the pass and running damn near for a touchdown. Really thought that showed his athleticism. And then you've also got Elias Williams. I was extremely happy to see that happen early. Just using his size, man. Even we're talking about tight ends, his ability to block. I really think people are overlooking that, but he was pushing people around, really pushing people around. When I go to offensive line, I transition over there. The key here was the injuries. We really got banged up again on the offensive line. Right, Monroe Freeling goes out. And so you're playing Bo Hughley at left tackle. You've got your two true freshmen on the right side, and I felt like we did a very good job moving people. Right, still, I'm really pleased with the offensive line thus far. Even when you have these injuries, it's nice to see the guys still making moves and pushing people around, and that's exactly what happened. And I do think it'll be interesting to see if Monroe Freeling can play against Auburn. I think the way Kirby talked about it earlier today he was pretty pleased with where things were. It wasn't as bad, right? And if that's the case, I say hope because we don't know. I think there's a good chance that you do see Monroe Freeling back in. But I think also seeing Bo Hughley come in and secure down that left side felt fairly good. I didn't see a lot of issues there. And so, again, I'm looking at that situation as an opportunity for the right side to keep playing and allowing Monroe Freeling, if he's hurt, allowing Bo Hughley to hold down with the experience on the left side, keeping that right side intact and letting them get the experience. Both of them true freshmen. I think you're going to need that, especially moving forward. So it's good for the whole team, really, in the offense to allow Gaston and allow Donnie Glover the opportunity to just keep playing that right side because they're moving people as true freshmen. I can't say they're not making an impact. So I look at that situation and I'm excited for that offense. I think this offense, I'm not listening to the Bobo haters right now. I'm really not. I'm liking what I'm seeing from a play calling. I think there are some situations where, right, we've heard this in the weeks past where the quarterback can see different things. And I understand where people are coming from. But in my opinion, the scheme and the play calling have really done a good job. And so I'm not going to be holding that against anybody, especially on this offense. I'm just not going to do that. The defensive performance. Actually, I'm going to wait before the defense. I'm going to give a report card grade for each of the offensive units. I'm going to probably say a B+ on the quarterbacks. I think the interceptions kind of hurt here. But again, I'm not going to hold that interception against Gunner as bad simply because it was something that we had been wanting to see. Sometimes it just happens, right? It's not just a bad interception, right? Pushing the ball down the field. I think we needed to see that. Be aggressive. At least in my opinion, I'm okay with that. So give me a B+ for the quarterbacks. When it comes to the running backs, I'm also going to go A-. I'm going to go A- here. You simply ran your way for 3 touchdowns. Gunner with 2, Dylan Bell on the end around. You had your way on the offensive in the running game. I really do think so. I know there were some plays where Kentucky was able to swallow things up in the backfield or for a short little loss here and there. But for the most part, you were able to assert yourself on the ground. And so I'm going to go A- there. When it comes to the receiving core, I'm looking at probably a B. I think Dylan Bell's catch really helped with that right there. We didn't need the passing game as much. Again, you get those guys involved. You get the tight ends. You get the offense moving. You had Cash Jones on the angle route, sit there, go for a touchdown. So you had success on the ground. You don't go for many yards as you would like statistically, but I'm not going to hold that up again. Receivers were catching for Gunner and for Puglisi. I'm going to go B there. I think you could have had more explosiveness, but I think the matchup presented itself in a way for it not to be looking pretty statistically. For offensive line, for what it's worth, I'm going A because you got banged up. Michael Morris goes out for a little bit as well. And then so you sit there, you have Daniel Calhoun getting him some reps, and you don't even really feel like you miss a beat too much. And, the same can't be said in last year or rough parts of this season, right? You had these question marks. We saw what happened against Tennessee. I know it's a different level of competition. You struggled at times. I don't think you struggled Saturday. Offensively on the line, you were able to move people, and you went from there. So I'm gonna go A there. I thought, again, you moved people, and the rotation that Kirby Smart and Stacey Searles put out there, I was thoroughly impressed with. So I'm going A on the offensive line. We rotate over to the defensive side of the ball, and we have to start with the defensive line. I think the main problem here that people are going to look at is the amount of pressure. And while I do think that you can get more pressure, there's also, when you go back, and I always do this, but you always have to get that analytical rewatch. And when you look at that, there were times where you're sending 3 and then delaying a 4th blitz or a rusher, right? I'm not sitting here and saying it was perfect. It wasn't. You did get a sack with Nnamdi Ogboko. Shout out my North Carolina guy. And then, CJ Allen was able to get a sack as well. So you're able to get home a couple times. You're also able to force the quarterback to run to the side, right? Run out of the pocket, allow your defense to get to him, get home. I do think it would be nice to see some guys breaking off one-on-ones and winning those. You're going to need that more consistently moving forward, especially if you're trying to contend for not only just the SEC title, but maybe even in the playoffs and for a national championship. You're going to have that. You're going to have that kind of pressure creation. And you're going to have those guys win on one-on-ones. You just are. So, again, I was really happy to see us get a couple sacks, get some hurries, get some pressures. I would just love to see us honestly be more aggressive. Maybe you were hesitant with what they were doing, but I think this would have been a game for you to kind of just go out there and hunt. Really, I hate to say this, but the last time that we went out and actually hunted was Texas at DKR. That felt different than anything we've seen this year so far, and that was different than anything we'd seen last year, right? That's my kind of defense. I love seeing that aggression. I love seeing that hunting mentality. I really do. I just don't get this feeling that, we're being ultra aggressive, but I still think we're creating pressures and we're limiting explosives. There was some instance on the back end, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. But I want to talk about the linebackers. CJ Allen's playing elite level football, folks. Whether you like it or not, he is playing elite level football. Really making plays, showcasing the speed. Everybody looks at him and doesn't expect the speed more so than the IQ, but he can really run too. And I think it was showing there too. Not only from getting to the quarterback, but making plays, pursuing the football. I think back to the screen, one of the screen plays, push, where DeMelo Jones kind of forces the play outside, allows CJ to get there. Just the pursuit from him has really been fun to watch. But then you've got another textbook just pummeling from Raylan Wilson, right? Textbook tackle on the quarterback, getting his first start, if I'm not mistaken. Buddy, laying the fucking lumber down, okay? Just being blunt there. Really just textbook too, right? Raylan Wilson has made himself some money this season, folks. He really has. But I can't be remiss by saying Justin Williams just looks different. Justin Williams just looks different. When he's on the field, number 19 is flashy. He closes, probably one of the best linebackers at closing that we have. And it just brings this speed to the defense. It's just downright scary. It's really scary. But if you're a Georgia fan, you're loving it. Absolutely loving it. So I'm looking at that right there. I thought linebackers did really well this game. I think there's probably some impact where you could have made some more plays. I'm not going to be that critiquey. I'm just not going to do it. In the secondary, I thought we did fairly well, to be honest. Not really mad at all about that performance. I think Jonel Aguero got caught. Something got to keep your eyes in the right spot. Allowed that chunk play for the tight end touchdown there for Kentucky. But then, from a first-team defense, you don't really give up too much. You give up yards, but you don't give up touchdowns. You don't give up points. You give up the 7, and then you go, fourth quarter? Late into the fourth quarter before you give up another touchdown, and that's when your reserves are in. As a defense, I can't be terrible about that. I can't be mad about that. I do think if we're talking the entirety, I think there's a lot to work on in regards to cleaning up the penalties. I think you have to play more disciplined football. A lot of those penalties, what felt like to me, came from the reserves, came from the backups, right? So, maybe that's something you get to work those guys on, but that's also a good thing for them to come in and work on and get game reps. So that's a good opportunity to get some game tape, get those guys some reps. You need this. We've been saying this over and over. You need that. I can't not say Dom Kelly is legit, and I think the future's bright there at corner. I think he has the potential to be a next just a lockdown man corner. Really good press corner man. I loved what he was doing Saturday. I really do. And also, I'm just looking at Ellis Robinson. Hey, Ellis Robinson had himself a game too. So overall, the secondary, I'm completely content with. I do think there was a situation, like again, with Jonel not having his eyes in the right spot, and it cost you 7 points. I think there's a situation where you get some defensive miscues, kind of put you in a situation where you give up an explosive here and there. But again, if you're going to do that right there, your main defense gives up 7 points, and then you don't give up anything until late in the game. Can't be mad about that, regardless the opponent. So for me, my report cards are like this. Defensive line, I'm going to go B+. I think the pressure, they could do better, but I'm happy to see Nnamdi Egbuka get a sack. I thought that was really key because, again, that's your nose tackle, folks, and that was interior pressure that caused that play, caused that sack. But again, I think you look at situation where Elijah Griffin didn't really say a lot from Elijah Griffin, but my God, he's been playing his ass off this off as a true freshman. Really has. So I'm going B+ there. Linebackers, I'm going A. I thought they played a very sound football game. I thought they were pursuing very well. You saw a lot of tackles. You saw a lot of filling the gaps. Hard to be really pissed off about linebacker performance after Saturday, watching what I saw. Cornerbacks, I'm gonna say B. I think there's some room to be left on the field. I'd like to see some more havoc plays in regards to maybe some more pass breakups or maybe an interception. But again, if I'm looking at that right there, I thought Dom Kelly, Dom Kelly, I think you're really starting to see him come up. And also DeMello Jones. I think DeMello Jones, in the wake of Daniel Harris's injury, when he's battling through what he's doing, I think you're really seeing that emergence from DeMello and Dom Kelly and what you got looking forward to next year, if you will. Really excited to see what that's about. This podcast, this show, we don't let special teams go to waste. Brett Thorson, what kind of sorcery do you have punting the football and just watching a football take an immediate left turn and down on the ball at the 1 yard line? This is another year with just an insane punt, an insane feat of special teams. I don't know how he does it. I really don't. I have to sit here and question that. I love it though. I do. Maybe it's just an Aussie thing. I don't know. But you've got me hooked on it. I don't know what to tell you. When you can make a football turn immediately to the left, almost like a boomerang, without coming back. Give me that. And then Peyton Woodring is still feel like he's automatic. When you look at other teams across the conference, or not even the conference, but across the country, and some of these kicker issues, it really makes you feel confident when you've got a guy like Peyton Woodring. Just going to leave that there. Special teams, I'm going to go A. I'm going to go A as well. Didn't really need a ton of special teams. However, when you did, you were efficient and you flipped the field when you punted. So, yeah, hey, easy day at the office, but Brett Thorson, whatever kind of sorcery you're doing, keep it up. Keep it up. I want to take a little bit of time, too, for anybody watching and have some comments. Guys, I think it might be time. It might just be time for another episode of Barking Back. God, I think it's time. If you're not familiar with Barking Back, we take some points and we talk about it. After seeing what I saw Saturday, Penn State and Texas, you're trash. And you have to deal with that. I'm sorry. It's bad. Penn State. I'm guilty of this. I knew y'all were better than that. I thought y'all were better than that ahead of the season. And you're proving me to be a liar. And I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. And for that, it's time to come to the altar. And you got to have a talk with Jesus about this. But how are you going to let Nico and an 0-4 UCLA team beat you? That unheard of. You let an interim coach with 2 days of prep beat your valued defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles. $3 million defensive coordinator, might I add. It took 2 days of prep. Hell, UCLA's interim head coach admitted that he didn't even know how to operate the headset. And you could not stop them. Oregon fans, I think it might be time to have this discussion. You may have broke Penn State this season. I think so. We'll see. But right now, it is not good if you're a Happy Valley fan. If you're Penn State and Indy line, you are not in a good place right now. And if you're watching this and you have a Penn State friend, please check on them. Mental health is important. Just saying. The first time since 1985. 1985. An 0-4 or worse team has beat a top 10 team. And you saw it happen Saturday. And it wasn't like it was a close game. The score may look like it, but it wasn't. They dominated you. I don't know what it is. And listen, UCLA, good job for taking advantage of that. I'm sorry, but you're not good. But congratulations on the win. And Texas fans. But I feel bad for Arch Manning. I really do. I really feel bad for Arch Manning. And it's not because he's not good or bad. It's because the media and the Texas fan base put this kid on a level of hype beyond recognition, like just beyond what you can fathom this offseason. So much so that it forced literally everybody to despise this kid. It really did. I can't understand some of these numbers that we see Texas deal with in the swamp. I don't think I've ever heard this many. I feel like this was an NFL game defensive stat wise. I want to say I saw something where Texas gave up 35 pressures. Florida's defense got 35 pressures Saturday. That tells me your offensive line is complete ass. I guess those Lambos are there just for show, ain't they? What do I know? You're spending a lot of money, and it's not showing. That's just my thoughts. But no, in all seriousness, I don't understand this. The inability to scheme up something different. If you have these long developing plays and the defense you're playing against is getting home over and over and over, it might be an idea to shorten those plays up a little bit. Design something shorter. What do I know, though? I'm sitting here and, Steve Sarkisian and the offense in Texas, they're making millions. I'm just giving you my thought. If they're getting home and your offensive line is having problems, you might want to try to help your offensive line, scheming up short plays. Just saying. Arch throws 2 picks. Could have had a third one. And really, DJ Lagway looked like the better quarterback for sure. Who would have thought this would have been the case? But, at the same time, like we did, like me, Keon, the Brigade, we all picked Texas in this. At the same time, if I'm not mistaken, Keon did mention he could easily see Texas losing this. He was right. Now we picked Texas, but he did mention that. And you look at the home slate right there, or the on the road, excuse me. Arch going on the road. That's his first SEC road game. So I want to talk back to the Georgia fans that are still watching this. Be thankful your quarterback could go out and win a game on the road. Just saying. It's hard to do in the SEC. Just saying. It's kind of a shame. I think Georgia fans were looking forward to hosting Texas with a lot of ramifications in this matchup. And now you're looking at a 2-loss Texas team. They're about to play in the Red River shootout this Saturday. Depending on how that goes, that could be 3 losses right there. You're not careful. I'm not saying they will or will not lose. I'm not going to go either way just yet. But it's something to watch out for. And the more Texas struggles, the less and don't let it be the less and less that this game in Athens means less. I think it still needs to matter a ton. Just saying, regardless of what their record is. So, Georgia fans, listen to me. Make that game hell. Simple, right? But it is taking away some luster of that game, right? Because I think a lot of people, even ourselves included, had Texas probably looking at 1 loss, maybe, going into that game. Here we are, though. Texas and Penn State down 2 losses already, and it's week 6. So that's rough. Florida State. Man, I know you got that. I know you got that win against Bama, but outside of that, it's not been that great for you. I think Miami showed, if anything, in all seriousness, I think Miami showed they have the capability to be one of the best teams in the country right now. I think they're playing the best football of anybody in the country. I think they're at 2 right now, but I could easily see them being 1. I understand the Ohio State situation, but nonetheless, I think Miami is the most complete team right now. I mean, Miami goes into Tallahassee and beating them 28-3 in the fourth quarter. Mario, you still got to keep your foot on the gas. There's no reason for them to get 28-22. There's no reason for that. You had the team to just keep your foot on the throat on them because they weren't going to score. But you let up. But you're playing a great. Listen, Carson Beck is playing amazing football right now. Malachi Toney looking really, really great. Ruben Bain, elite. CJ Daniels looks really good. And the offensive line, y'all are killing it. Y'all are killing it. So I'm giving you the flowers there. Through 6 weeks, y'all are killing it. I think y'all are the best team, most complete team. And I don't see y'all really getting tested until December. So don't screw the pooch. Just don't do that. That's all I'll say there. I think that's a playoff team in Miami right now. I really do. Also saw Vanderbilt. This is my last one. Vanderbilt. It's not the fact that you lost. It's the shit that I saw before the game that I'm talking to you right now. But you can't be practicing your victory formation and acting like you're about to win that game in fucking Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm sorry. That doesn't go well for you. And you lost. You had him for a little bit. You had him in the first half, I'm not going to lie. But it's Alabama. And you're not getting past Alabama when they've got their eyes set on you. It showed. I think a last little bit of a score made it a little bit worse than what it looked. Nonetheless, you go in, and I thought y'all played a fairly good game. I'm not saying Vanderbilt didn't play a bad game. Right? This is really giving Vanderbilt credit, considering where they have been and where they are now. Just being honest. But just seeing that victory formation, I was like, oh, this is going to get ugly. This is going to be bad. You lost, but it wasn't a terrible performance, I would say. But you still lost. Listen, at least you're practicing because, you probably will need it here soon. I think Vanderbilt's not done winning football games. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But with that being said, that's all that I have for this edition of Barking Back. Folks, that's all we've got for this episode of the DGD Podcast. Again, your Dawgs 35-14 victory over Kentucky. We're putting this to bed. We're getting ready for Auburn. You know, and everyone knows that listens or watches this show understands my hatred for Auburn. Juan, I'm sorry, but this week I can't. I just can't do it. Love Ash, love y'all, but I just can't do it this week. No hard feelings, please. I promise you that. It's Auburn week. I can't stand you. I can't stand you. I can't stand Auburn. Just make sure everybody understands that. We'll be back Wednesday. We're talking Auburn football in that game preview, night game in Jordan-Hare. It's going to be interesting. Make sure you're liked, follow, subscribe, rate, and review us. Ring that bell because we're on YouTube. Let us know when we're going live. Keep you informed on when we're going live, and we're going to be talking about that. And then also remember, barkperformance.com. Use code DGD Podcast 10. Get 10% off that first order. Hey, get that hydration. Get the berry flavor. Love it. But make sure to support them because they support us at Bark Performance. With that being said, though, that's all we've got. Have a great one. We'll see you Wednesday. Go Dogs.